Hey, I'm Steve Krentz for Guitar Gathering. Thanks for joining us on this quick lesson about how to hybrid pick on guitar. We've learned about flat picking, we've learned about fingerstyle. This is kind of a joining of the two, where you're going to be using your pick, but we're also going to be using a little bit of our fingers as well. So let me just kind of do a little hybrid picking here for you. So let me get my mic out of the way here so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. All right, so this is not pure fingerstyle, and it's not flat picking either. We're going to be doing a combination of both. So we have our pick in a good pick position here. Oh, about maybe 45-degree angle or a 90-degree angle here with our pick coming away from our thumb, and about a centimeter of it showing. About a centimeter of it showing. All right, so it's between our thumb and an index. Also, when you put your pick in your hand, if you think of it, it's like you're pulling a trigger. So a lot of people may put their first finger straight and they put their pick out like that. That's a common thing. Don't do that. You need your first finger needs to be like you're pulling a trigger, and then you lay the pick on top of that. That's going to get you a little bit better. So this is how that should be, not straight like that. So once we get the thumb and the index, well, that still leaves us, we don't really use our pinky, but that still leaves us with our middle and our ring finger available to use. So we are going to do combinations between the two. So to get us started off, let's do maybe a D chord. Okay, and I can do all down with my with a pick, but now I'm going to do. So I'm going to pluck the lowest note and the upper two notes on the first and second string with my middle and my ring finger. Those are just going to go up, cupping up into my hand. It's going to feel a little funky to you at first if you haven't done this before. But we're just going to start this off with just a regular chord. We're trying to get them both to fire together. If you haven't done this before, this is going to be a little bit tricky, but I'm hitting normal downstroke with my pick, and then these two are on the first and second strings. Okay, so once we can play them all together, let's switch to another chord. Let's say I'm doing a C chord. So thumb and the pick has moved to the fifth string, but these guys are still on the first and second strings. Okay, I can even move them. Let's try them on the inside strings, on the third and the second string. So they're always going to be on adjacent strings, the two notes that are being plucked. Those are always going to be on adjacent strings. They're never going to be splitting a string. But I can have them on, let's say, the fourth and the third. I can have them on the third and the second. I can have them on the second and first. Let's say I'm doing a G chord. Let's put them on the second and third there. Let's put them on the third and fourth. Let's put them on the fifth and the fourth. So it takes a standard chord, and suddenly I've got a lot of wonderful definition I can do with it. Okay, so let's go back to our D chord where we started. And we're going to start to arpeggiate these a little bit. So I'm going to do the pick on the low D, and then instead of hitting this all together, I'm going to alternate them. So I'm going to go pick and then the upper notes. Just do that for a second. let's go to a 5th string chord like a C chord. Let's go to a G chord, a 6th string chord. Back to C chord. Back to a D chord. Okay, so we can alternate them like that. That's step 2, all right? Here, now let's get a full arpeggio. I'm going to hit the downstroke on the D, and then I'm going to do the 2nd finger, and then or the middle finger, and then the ring finger. Try that. If we did kind of a triplet sort of a pattern. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Let's go to that C chord. Hey, let's go to the 3rd and 2nd string. Let's go to the 4th and 3rd string. So it feels a little bit different than fingerstyle, but it's very usable, especially if you're doing electric things and you need to get a little bit of sort of a fingerstyle motion with it. They use it all the time, maybe in country stuff, you know. Kind of that chicken picking sort of a thing. You could do it when you're doing just kind of maybe playing a softer song, but you want to get a little bit more of arpeggiation. So you don't have to let go of your pick and go full fingerstyle. You can do this hybrid picking, and that's what it is. So we start out with just hitting them all together. Then we start out with just hitting the pick and then the 2 up. And then we start alternating thumb, middle, ring, thumb, middle, ring. What if I did thumb, ring, middle, thumb, ring, middle, thumb, ring, middle? Okay, now, one thing that you're going to do a lot with hybrid picking is the note with the pick is going to hit more than one string. So you may do things like, so here I went pick, pick, and then the fingers. So the picking down, it's almost kind of a sweep picking because it's all in the same motion. So practice that move because that's an important shift. Pick, pick, and then the plucked notes. Pick, pick, plucked. So I get all 4 notes of the chord, but I've got a little bit of flexibility. Let's say I go to a C chord. Let's say I alternate them. Now, I'm not bracing with my pinky, you'll notice that. I'm just kind of letting my arm and hand come over naturally. Where I'm plucking on adjacent strings, picking on adjacent strings, and then plucking up with the other 2. A minor, G in the bass, D with the F sharp, the bass. Oh, now look what I did there. I plucked the 6th string and then the 4th string, so I skipped that 5th string. So there's really only a few combinations that you can do with the hybrid picking. The thing is to get fluid at it, but it's a good way, instead of having to put down your pick and do fingerstyle, you could add this hybrid picking to it. So this isn't, you'll notice some guys sometimes play with a flat pick, and you'll see that in bluegrass circles and sometimes in jazz circles as well. This is not that, because that almost functions, when you're using a thumb pick, that almost functions like you're just regular finger picking, finger Travis picking, things like that. This is different. This is a combination of the flat pick and the other. So just grab a few chords, maybe a D here. Maybe an A. G. And just work on different combinations for your different arpeggios. Keith is saying it's not as easy as it looks. Yeah, it's a little tricky first couple of times you do it, but once you do it, it's a great style to have in your back pocket. Because sometimes you'll be playing, as I was this past week, in a situation where I need my electric and I'm playing rather strong, but I do want the flexibility to be able to do fingerstyle a little bit. So I start doing this hybrid picking style. All right, so we have a lot of questions about this. Let me see if I can get to some of these questions here. Brian Snyder is saying, is there ever a time when you downstroke with the back of your nails? The short answer is yes, I do that all the time. Let's see. If I want a softer sound, I'll kind of do a downstroke with the back of my pick like this. I do it a lot on jazz things. Let me kind of get it, roll my tone back here, and you can see if I can get a jazz sound. And I'm just using the back of my third finger just to give that a softer sound. I could do it with my pick, but you see how I suddenly get a lot of pick noise. If I do the back of my finger, I'm able to get a little bit more of a softer sound. Gary is saying, do you find yourself doing more hybrid picking as opposed to using a thumb pick and fingers? Gary, I do a lot more hybrid picking than I do with a thumb pick. I used to play with a thumb pick all the time, which is, back many, many moons ago. I did a thumb pick and just played jazz with a thumb pick all the time, 100%. And that's kind of how I grew up playing, was using a thumb pick. But now I hardly ever use the thumb pick. It's still very natural for me to use a thumb pick, but I just don't have one with me all the time. So I'm doing hybrid picking in almost all when I'm doing electric stuff. I'm doing hybrid picking in some format or other. And you can do a lot of cool things with electric. With let me turn on a little bit of distortion here. So you can get a lot of cool effects with it. If I had my nails back, they weren't chewed up from traveling for a week, it would sound a little bit better. But yeah, you can do a lot of cool things with rock, and a lot of the things with early songs with Boston. Tom Scholz and all that sort of stuff used a little bit of that hybrid picking when he was doing his stuff. Felicia is asking a good question. How many professional guitar players angle their pick when playing single notes? I'm not quite sure exactly what you're talking about, but here's what I think you're talking about. Okay, when I'm picking, okay, you'll notice that I'm not attacking the string straight on. I'm almost angling a little bit and digging into it. That gives me a little bit more of a forcefulness in my playing. Let me turn off my reverb here. So I'm digging into it, kind of almost a forward motion. I'm not going flat like that. I'm digging into it. So there is that tendency to be an angle. I can get a powerful sound if I angle it down a little bit. That sort of a feel. And I use that feel quite a bit on kind of funky stuff, R&B stuff. Cool Hand Luke is saying, have a Learn a Master Guitar course on CD along with the book before the Gibson collaboration. Wow, that's the old one. Bought for my kids. I was wondering if it would be good for me to start at 57 years. Well, I'm sorry, at 57 years, you just can't learn anything anymore, and we might as well just give up. No, 1,000 times no. I don't care if you're 57 or 67 or 77 or 97. If you want to learn how to play guitar or paint or do pickleball, whatever you want to do, keep learning, keep learning. You're never too old. Just say that you're never too old to do anything. Start learning. Am I going to get it, am I going to throw a ball like Tom Brady? Well, probably not. But should I never try and get better at what I'm doing? No, not at all. Don't listen to that. That's a little voice in your head that says you're too old for this. And I tell you, it happens when you're 67. It happens when you're 57. And if you'll let it, it'll happen when you're 37. And you'll just go, well, unless I'm 17, I'm never going to learn anything. No, don't listen to that. That's a lie. That's a lie. Pick up something if you want to learn it. Take up painting, guitar playing, whatever you want to do, and just start learning it. We have to get back into the track of learning. But yeah, yes, you can learn as an adult quite well. You just have to focus, just like you did, and you have to approach it like you did when you were younger, where you just don't know anything, and you just do what your instructor tells you to do, and you'll find and practice and work at it, and you'll get better at it. Never believe the lie that you're too old to do it. Cool Hands Luke is saying, how about hybrid picking with acoustic? Yes, do it all the time. It's great. If I'm doing strumming and I want to do a little bit of arpeggiation in there, I can still do it with this hybrid picking. It's going to take you a little while to get the flow of it down. Don't let that throw you off. Just practice it. In a couple days, you'll have it. Don't give up on it after 15 minutes. All right, so that's a little bit about hybrid picking. It's not all that difficult to do. Let me play you a song. This is going to be a jazz song, so I'm going to kind of put it up to my front pickup here, get a warmer sound. I'm going to roll my tone back just a little bit. It's a foggy day in London town. This is a little bit of a different version than I'm used to doing, so we'll see how well I do with it. Anna's asking, what do I look for in a thumb pick? Well, let's see, it's been so long since I've actually gotten a thumb pick. I usually go for a national thumb pick and large. I don't like to go extra large because it gets a little bit too loose on my hand. I want it nice and snug on my thumb. And then sometimes if the point, which has a tendency to be about, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch or more. Usually, sometimes maybe it's even 1 centimeter long, that point is. And I don't like it that long. That puts my thumb at a weird angle. So I will file that down, like, just like you filed your nail. Get a nail file and just file that down there, and then just make it as smooth as I can to get it to a little bit of I want it at about 1/4 of an inch or less, not more than 1/4 of an inch. So that's just what I do to make my thumb pick a little bit more usable for me. But the main thing for me is it needs to be tight. It's got to be tight on that finger so it's not gonna fly off in the heat of battle. Gary is asking a really good question. Did you ever use the pinky in hybrid picking? The short answer for me is no. Now, and here's why. First of all, I don't use the pinky generally at all, and is not typical to be used in any sort of fingerstyle playing. Some flamenco guys use the pinky, but it's just less controlled, and so it's a little harder to do what it needs to do. Plus, it kind of comes at the guitar at a funky angle that is a little hard to do sometimes. So on the rarest of occasions, I might use a pinky, but not hardly at all. Usually what I'm using is just thumb and index is the pick, and then middle and ring finger. Okay, so I'm going to play a little tune here. This was out of the Learn to Master Guitar course. Someone mentioned that earlier. And this was a song called Carolina. So I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it fingerstyle first, and then I'll play it for you again using a pick, and you can see kind of the hybrid picking with it. This is just a song that I wrote for the course. I was needing a title for it, and because I just wrote it to kind of illustrate a few things. And I remember yelling across the hall to one of our video editors at that time, Grant, good friend, and I said, "Grant, what's your daughter's name?" And he yelled back without looking up. He said, "Carolina." I said, "Okay." So that's where the name Carolina for this song came from. The fingerstyle version of it. Let me play with the pick. Let's do it hybrid and see how my fingers are doing the same thing. Sorry. So it's a little bit different. It took me a second to kind of get the feel of it after doing it fingerstyle to do it with the hybrid picking. But once you practice it for well, you kind of get the flow of it really, really well. You can do all sorts of finger patterns with the hybrid picking. And you could do them very fast. That's the one thing I do like about hybrid picking is you can get them going pretty fast. There you go. Keith is asking about how would acrylic nails work. Well, I have never used acrylic nails. I know a lot of guys use them, especially in Nashville. A lot of the chicken picking guys, which is just brutal on your nails because you're pulling that string up all the time, and they almost exclusively use acrylic nails for that. So yeah, if you're a nail person and work at a nail salon in Nashville, you'll find a lot of guitar players are coming into you and asking for acrylic nails. So I have never used acrylic nails, but I know a lot of folks who do. In fact, one of you mentioned Johnny Hyland, and Johnny Hyland uses acrylic nails as well. Stuff there. I wanted to show y'all just a little lick in sixth. Let me just kind of play it and use it in a situation you can kind of see what I'm doing. So the little lick is basically this. You start with a sixth, and I'll show you multiple different ways to play it. We're going to be in the key of E here, so I'm going to be my first finger on the second string at the 5th fret, second finger on the fourth string at the, what would that be, the 6th fret. So with these sixths, you always have a string in between them. Let me say that again. With sixth on guitar, you always have a string in between them. So even though I could play this like this, I play it like this. Okay? So there's the E, that's the root. There's the 3rd, the 6th underneath it. Now the lick is, we're going to use 2nd and 3rd for the next one, up here at the 2nd and 4th string at the 7th fret. And then we're going to slide up one, and then slide up one more. So we have 2nd and 3rd, 2nd and 1st, and then 2nd and 3rd, 2nd and 3rd, 2nd and 3rd. And then you can go backwards. So this is the 3rd of whatever chord you're on going to the root. Now, conveniently, if I do them on the 3rd and 2nd, or excuse me, 3rd and 1st string, it's the same finger pattern. 3rd and 2nd, 3rd and 2nd, 3rd and 2nd, and then off there. Now, if I do them on the, the 4th, or excuse me, the 5th string and the 3rd string combination, I've got to change it up a little bit. I've got my first finger here on the E on the 3rd string at the, what is that, the 9th fret. G sharp with the 3rd finger at the 11th fret on the 5th string. Those you do a little bit less. And then it's the same finger pattern for the lower. Those I hardly ever do, but these you'll do a lot. You could work your way down, kind of alternate them. Okay, I can also flip those. Well, what's that? Well, here I put the E on the bottom and the G sharp. I raised it an octave and now it's on the top. So these are 3rds, these are 6ths. But do you see, it's the same two notes. It's an E and a G sharp. I'm just flipping different octaves. Can I do it as a 10th? You bet. Low E, G sharp there. Learned that lick from Tom Bresh. If I'm in A, or I could do it in thirds. it's just a cool lick. So we've learned it in some open keys, but it also works in key if you don't have it in open. So let's say if I wanted to do it in F. There's an F. Well, I put my second finger there, and I can do the same lick up here. What if I did it here with the F here on the second string? What if I wanted to do it in B flat? No problem. There's a B flat, there's the third underneath it. What if I wanted to do it in C? There's the C, and then I just do the same, but you see it's the same pattern. Going up to the third as the highest note, and then going to the root. Like I said, you don't use that one very much. And there's if I did it in tenths. It's just a really hip and useful lick. If you're kind of playing in any key and you wanted to have a little bit of a lick that you can play down, you know. It's a really hip little lick that you can use for that. So anyway, that's a little sixth lick for you. Learn all you can, learn all you can. Or that minor 4 in the key in any key, you have the 1 chord, you have the 2 chord, the 3 chord, and then you have this 4 chord, which should be major. But if you make that minor, maybe add the 6th in there to it. I'm in the key of E here, so it'd be an A minor 6th. Just gets a beautiful sound. And it was always a struggle to me to figure out what can I do to solo over that. It just seems like such an odd chord to solo over. If I'm in the key of E, going to that minor 4, A minor 6, back to E. It just always seemed like an odd chord to solo over. But then I realized that over this, there's certain notes that I could play. So let's just think, follow me down a rabbit trail. This is how I think. If I wanted to solo over an A minor 6th, I'd think of what notes I could use. Well, I could use an A, I could use a B, I could use a C, natural, because that's the minor. So far I have A, B, C. I could use a D. I could use an E, because that's in the chord. I could use an F sharp, because that's in the chord too. And I could use a G. So I have these notes, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And here in my little simple, single-celled amoeba brain, I look at that combination of notes, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, and I say to myself, self, that's a G scale. So over an A minor 6th, I can play a G scale. And I figured that out the other day, and I thought, oh, well, that's brilliant. I could do all sorts of tricks in G over that A minor 6th. So if I'm in the key of E, A minor 6th, wish I had my looper going. I don't. Oh, Steve, what was that? It was brilliant. It was a G scale. Starting on an F sharp. What magic was that? It was a lick in G. Sorry. What sort of Phil Keaggy-esque thing was that? It's a G scale, but I'm just starting on a C. I'm doing 3 notes on a string. And just a great little sound. Just a little nugget, just a little, that one was for free. That one was for free. If you want to solo over a minor 4, you can actually just go down a whole step. Like I was on an A minor 6. I go down to a whole step and play a G scale. And I'm Ed is saying, could be a myth, but I believe acrylic nails made my natural nails weaker and more brittle. And it's not a myth, Ed, that's how they work. You've got the adhesive that attaches that acrylic nail to your natural nail, but the one thing is that adhesive weakens the real nail underneath. So you end up with weaker nails if you just keep them on all the time. If you just continually have acrylic nails on, then your nail bed underneath will get weaker. Now I use, just to strengthen my nails, I use a hand and nail cream by Vaseline, kind of Vaseline Intensive Care. They're normal stuff, but it comes in a pink bottle. You can't find it very much. It's their hand and nail cream, and I find if I rub that in, maybe at night as I'm going to bed, maybe get it really in the cuticle and underneath the nail, and then after about 3 or 4 days, my nails are noticeably stronger. Okay, there you go. All right, well, that's enough of that. We've talked about 6th. We've talked about hybrid picking a little bit. So let me just play us out, and we will. Well, Brian is saying, how much practice time to learn hybrid picking? Hybrid picking, as much as it takes, is the slow answer. Is the real answer? As much as it takes. How much practice time? I mean, if I was trying to incorporate into my real playing, I would say maybe do 5-10 minutes of it. But it's the thing about consistency. You know, oh, well, I tried hybrid picking and I did it for 2 days and I practiced it 10 minutes each. You're not going to get it. But if you did that a whole week, you'd have it. So sometimes you just have to keep going. Consistency is so much more important than the number of minutes that you do it. So playing 2 hours with it on the weekend is not going to get you as far down the road as if you did 10 or 15 minutes each day during the week. It's just how the brain works in solidifying these things. So I'd encourage you, as in your practice time, make it every day, even if it's just 15 minutes. Set a clock, figure out some things you want to do, and do it every day, and then you'll find that you'll get further down the road. Let me just play for you a while.